Moana 2 is okay. It's really hard to talk about this movie because it's just kind of bizarre. Like, everything pretty much hinges on the story this time around, but the story winds out so vague and kind of aimless. Like, I was really into the first hour. I thought it set up the mystery of the plot very effectively, and I really enjoyed these characters just kind of hanging out. The whole We're Back song was a nice reintroduction to everything. I thought Moana's passions really shone through during Beyond. Maui's song is fine. This is fine. The villain has a song later on that was forgettable, but nice in the moment. I really loved when Moana sang We Know the Way. It felt like a great thematic bridge between the first and second movie, and it was a really magical moment. Moana is pretty good here. She's not amazing, but it feels like we get to see some of her passions through her interactions with others, and her relationship with her sister is legitimately beautiful. But with that said, every other character is kind of worse. Disney completely forgot how to write Maui. In the first movie, he was relatively grounded in his comedy since he could deliver lines very quietly and still get a big laugh due to how charming his stupidity was. And he had a beautiful emotional core. Here, he's mostly loud and a bit annoying. But to be fair, Maui definitely has his moments in the film. The funniest scene in the movie was when Maui proposed the idea that the call from the ancestors was a butt dial. That made me laugh insanely hard. Maui and Moana only reunite in the second half of the movie, which is weird. It didn't really do any justice to their amazing dynamic, which was amazing in the first movie. Anyway, yeah, the movie has no idea what to do with anyone except for Moana and the new side characters. Moana isn't nearly as spunky or funny as she was in the last movie, but she's fine, not derailed or anything. But now, we must go into spoilers to properly discuss what doesn't work about this film. Okay, spoilers start now. So first of all, no one got sad when Moana died, right? I'm pretty sure that little dumb children could look at that scene and think, no one's ever really gone. So that scene fell completely flat for me. But anyway, Moana finds out through a spirit of her ancestor that the reason she can't find any other people on other islands is because a god who believed that humans uniting would make them too powerful together, so he cursed an island where they did meet up years ago and put a fog over it. Okay, how exactly does that separate every island from each other? I mean, the island where they met up was probably in the center of the ocean, making it a convenient meeting spot, and sealing it would definitely slightly slow down the process of finding new people, but it's one goddamn island. It's not a magic center of the universe. It's one island. And the movie is trying to tell me that literally every single island in the world can't find another island because one island is sealed up. One island is inaccessible, and because of that, no one in the entire world can find any island anywhere. Excuse me? Because of one sealed island. What the heck? So Moana, Maui, and the new characters find the fog, and they need to break the curse. I mean, good thing that she was able to do that with no prompting on how to break the curse. I don't know, the conflict of the movie feels a little contrived. Like, Moana is able to find a random button underwater that she presses, and she's able to do it right before she drowns from the lack of oxygen, but she was able to save the day, and the magic water gives Maui his tattoos back after he lost them from getting struck too hard. And it also brings Moana back to life somehow. I don't know. At this point, the movie lost me. I'm sorry. The climax is like a non-climax. It's boring and it doesn't make sense how opening this one island suddenly allowed other islanders from another island to show up. Like, how is this one island being sealed preventing them from interacting with any other island in the world? It doesn't make sense. Whatever, let's just get to the ending. It sucks. It's so vague, and it leads to the reprise of the same song the first movie ended with, even though the reprise is great. I'm glad this movie's main conflict doesn't stem from generational trauma, because Disney has overused this trope. But I think we have a new trend that Disney and Pixar are overusing. They care more about safe comfort movies rather than risky movies that add to the genre. I've talked about this before, but yeah, a Wish handled it the best, don't at me. The comfort of the simplicity wasn't a substitute for substance, and the Disney references were very logical because it was the 100th anniversary of Disney, so they felt very in place. It was okay in Inside Out 2. I enjoy dumb fun when it's attached to likable characters. I just think the idea of making a sequel to Inside Out a lukewarm rehash of the original was a bad idea because it feels like a story that could have actually benefited from a sequel that did something different. But it had its moments. But Moana 2 does it the worst because the similarities aren't just subtle ones that can be chalked up to fan service. It's just the first movie hitting every beat but worse. So yeah, that's Moana 2. The stakes feel relatively low, partially due to how vague the story is, and that doesn't really make for a super investing narrative. I'm glad I saw it. I mean, the mid-credits scene was worth the price of admission alone. I'm not going to spoil it, but all I'll say is, if you're a fan of Shea productions, it'll make you very happy. But to me, this is definitive proof that Disney will never be amazing when it comes to making sequels. This is a nice expansion of the first film, but it's not an amazing way to progress the narrative. So, I don't know. 5 out of 10. See it if you want to,